I started, in terms of footwear, about the same time that I started getting into the mountain stuff is when I started experimenting with more minimalist footwear. I transitioned down from, I used to wear like fiberglass orthotics and a motion control shoe, and I transitioned down to road racing flats and for all my running. But that worked for a long time, especially when I was just sticking to trails. But recently, over the last couple of years, as I've taken what I think was more of a true mountain perspective to the sport, I've realized the need for a little more protection in the forefoot, rock plate, just on gnarly technical stuff, and also a pretty heavily lugged outsole for, off-trail stuff, tundra, loose, wet ground, that kind of thing. And so now, whereas before I probably would have been upset if a shoe weighed more than 7 or 8 ounces, I don't care if it's like 9 or 10 ounces as long as it has the kind of the functional aspects to it that I want in a shoe, which is basically just offer me protection and traction. I mean, that's what footwear is for. I don't want anything more than that, but I need those things in a shoe for sure. But that's in order to move quickly over technical terrain, you need to have kind of that very in-tune footwear in order to do that, and because you need to be in touch with the landscape that you're moving over. So it's not going to work if you're in a pair of, with big whack of midsole foam and no proprioception. So, I mean, I still have that same, ideology about footwear being just enough and no more, but due to the kind of terrain that I'm doing now, it needs to be a little more than what I was doing in the past, which, was a lot of like super minimal stuff. And I think the industry has applied sort of the basic concepts of, lowering that heel drop and then overall stack height of the shoe being a little closer to the ground to the whole spectrum of shoes, because there's really no reason to have like a huge, like a 12 mil heel drop in a shoe, if the body's like ready to adapt to that, to something lower. But yeah, I mean, I did the whole super minimal thing for a long time, and I think there's a lot of value in it for strengthening purposes. Like last night I was up in Leadville and I was doing, I did like 15, 20 minutes of barefoot running at the end of my run, just because I think it's really important to stay in touch with that natural running motion and keeping your lower legs and feet strong. But people can kind of go overboard, and people always ask me like, "Oh, do you run trails barefoot?" And I was like, "Really? Have you been on a trail before?" And I'm trying to go fast, like I need to have a shoe on. But yeah, so I don't know. My thinking's definitely evolved, and I don't know. I just try and do what works best.